This happens to be the fire room. It's room number 4 at the museum, and it's just basically the Rodeo-Chediski Fire. I started over on that section. It went around, kind of around this way. It starts out like from day 1 and goes on through it to over here where we have after the fire, the people that came in helped us reestablish the ground area, reforest it, and it came in to help plant trees and reestablish the forest and kind of mitigate some of the damage. But this is basically the Rodeo-Chediski Fire. This is the first day of the Rodeo-Chediski Fire. The smoke, and I'm on the rim trail. It's out by Pine Top Lakeside.
The Rodeo-Chediski Fire was actually 2 fires. The first fire started just above the town of Sibique on the White Mountain Indian Reservation. A young man named Leonard Gregg started it looking for work. He was a pickup firefighter. He had been to the training, but he was only called when there was a fire. And that fire burned like we'd never seen before. Our incident management team actually got there the 19th, but the fire had already run over the Mogollon Rim and was in timberland acres and burning homes. The Chediski Fire started from a woman who was lost just 3 days later, and it was near Chediski Cliffs and Chediski Farms on the same reservation. And she lit a signal fire to attract attention, and a helicopter landed to rescue her, but the fire got away, and it burned through Heber Overguard. A few days later, the 2 fires joined and burned a total of 468,000 acres in 17 days. And there were 5 days that we saw more than 50,000 acres of fire a day. It was the most extreme fire behavior that a lot of the old fire dogs, myself included, had ever seen. And we'd been going to fires for 30 to 40 years and never seen, even in Yellowstone in '88, we didn't see that kind of fire behavior. It was jaw-dropping, how fast and how far embers were flung, and the effects of the fire just totally denuding the landscape.
Right here is Black Canyon Lake. This is where we were first called to when we left Sibique. All of our dozers, we came through Heber, we pulled up here and we stopped, and we were supposed to go way down that road towards the rim and build a fire line to catch the fire from coming up. But that's when I said that the wind was blowing, smoke was in our face, embers are flying. The fire kind of got wrapped around us real easy. I think they decided it wasn't a good idea, so then we went back and started building a fire line around Heber and Overguard. As it works out, with logging, we're usually shut down during major fire seasons when things get hot. The conditions are ripe for fire, so we were already pretty much shut down when the fire starts. The first people they used to call, I mean, they still do, is the loggers, because we got the equipment to work in the forest, the dozers to build the fire lines, and the personnel and the crew to do that. When I kind of left, I was just focused on getting there, and it was so far off, I really kind of thought, well, I'm sure I'll be fine. But as days went on, it just kept growing bigger and bigger. Then I'm like, oh yeah, it's headed for town. It's not going to be good.
And this is the pictures of the firemen looking as it's climbing a ridge. And fire burns faster uphill than it does downhill. But ours was going downhill almost as fast as it was going uphill. It was just, it was moving really, really fast. And this one, looking back towards the fire, you can see the smoke. These are the cars leaving Show Low, headed towards Springerville down Route 60.
There was 35,000 people evacuated for up to 2 weeks. When they left, they didn't know if they were going to have a home to come home to. The gravity of that situation, whew, I'm getting emotional. The gravity of that situation overshadowed any one person. Anytime you lose a home, a firefighter grieves. anytime you lose 460 homes, the whole fire community grieves. Especially when you're doing everything you can to stop the fire from doing that, but the fire is bigger and badder than you are for today. But there's always tomorrow. The Rodeo-Chediski was 230 miles of perimeter of fire line, and in 3 counties, and had 4 fire teams on it and 4,000 firefighters. That's a pretty big deal. We devised a plan to do a burnout. So we took several crews, and I don't want to forget any of them. I know we had Mormon Lake and Flagstaff Hot Shots, and they went from the Road 300, right at the top of Mogollon Rim, 3 white hot shot crews, and sent them burning towards the north from the 300 road. We took Rick Loopy's White Mountain Apache crew, hot shot crew, the Navajo Scouts, and another one, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the other one. And they burned south along Highway 60 all the way down to where it went to Chediski. That was 14 miles. They were on the line 16 to 18 hours, walking down the road, spreading fire, holding crews and engines holding, and they did it. We had predicted that fire would be in Show Low on the 24th, and it didn't make it. I think it's due to the hard work of those crews, but I really do think it's due to the grace of God.
But so before man was on, in this country, in this continent, the forest took care of itself. Every summer we get our lightning fires, our monsoon, and the forest would burn. The fire would go across the floor, the ground of the forest, burning the pine needles and the lower trees, and kind of killing the lower limbs off and raising the branches up away from the floor, keeping the forest thinned out. And now, since man has been here, we've fought the fires, put out the fires, and now the forest just gets so thick and dense that where nothing can grow. And you don't get any grass. You really don't get any new reprod of pine trees when it gets so dense, because the sun can't touch the forest floor. So what we'll do, thinning this out, then in the future they'll come back and later do prescribed fire, burning off the pine needles, and it'll kill some of the new reprod that will come up and just kind of get it back to more of a natural state.
After the fire was out and the rains came, it just really messed up a lot of the forest. They came up and brought planes up, and they were dropping it like slurry. And I saw those planes out over the fields, and I go, no, it started again. And then, so I went on, I said, what's going on? He said, oh, this is the team that's come in, and we're putting fertilizer down and stuff down so that people can, the forest will regenerate, because I was afraid it was another fire.
But we were so lucky. We had 2 significant injuries on the fire. A guy stepped in a stump hole and fell sideways and broke his leg. Another guy received minor burns, for which he was transported, treated, and released. Nobody died.
She has never really been charged with any fire activity. The fireman, the Apache man, spent 10 years in the jail in the area for fire starters, for people that like to start fires. And he's been released, but he's banned from the reservation. He can't go back.
On the reservation, they've done a really very well job managing the forest through the years. They've always logged it. They've always gone back through with their crews, done control burns, hand thinning. So, and their forest did fare better than the national forest. National forest was thick, overgrown, hadn't been logged in years, and it suffered the greatest.
Okay, let's go. This was a really big fire, but in 20 years, we will look back and go, ho hum, oh yeah, we remember the Rodeo-Chediski. Well, 11 years later, the wildfire burned 513,000 acres.
I wanted to do this room because I wanted people to remember the problems that we had it lasted about 3 months, the major problems that we had. When you come up to the mountains, you need to be careful with fire because all it takes is one spark.
When we got back, the order of business was to get your gear bag ready, pay your bills, pet the dog, hug the wife, and be ready to go because it was a climax fire season. That was what life was. It became a battle between the monster of the fire and the good of the people and the security of the communities. So, you know, we left that fire, we went to the next one 2 weeks later.